What's good, y'all? We back.
Welcome back, we
At the stream. Got a couple things lined up. Depending on how long it takes, we might do more, might do less. You know, y'all know I like to talk. But gotta transform this content, right? But so the first thing this has been going crazy is Boogie2988 apparently has been faking that he's had cancer for 2 years, and I'm assuming it's all to get money. I'm sure a lot of people that's on my channel probably don't know who Boogie is, but he's like a almost 4 million sub YouTuber. He's been around. He's an OG on YouTube, a gamer. He do sketches, and in the past recent years, he's become more of a lolcow. Like, he's just kind of completely self-unaware. He's lazy. He begs for money. He doesn't do any content that warrants people to watch him anymore. So he's kind of spiraling out of the YouTube, out of the glory days of being on YouTube. And so he got confronted yesterday by Destiny, another big YouTuber, OG on YouTube. And apparently he kind of exposed that he's probably been lying about cancer all this time. And if he's been doing that and been asking for money and saying like, oh, all this money I've been getting here and there, it's all got to go to my medical bills and I got to pay for my medicine and all that stuff that's been going on, apparently it's not true. And Destiny probably exposed that last night between Destiny's podcast, Anything Else, and Boogie's podcast, Local Live. And if this really happened the way it did, he gon' I don't know what's gonna happen, because that's a big burden to carry if you've been lying to all your supporters for around 2 years. I think he announced it in 2022 that you've been lying about cancer. So we're going to see if Boogie's really been lying about cancer. Excuse me.
If they don't need that test to confirm cancer, why would you spend extra money on a biopsy they don't need?
I don't know if you heard of this, Destiny. I just got a bit of a windfall.
What's a windfall? He did a $10,000 crypto scam. And he actually has like a doctor confirmation.
And he just did a crypto scam too. I forgot about
towards his
that.
medical treatment. I'll make that personal pledge right now.
Holy shit. Wait. What did he just say?
Make that personal pledge. Actually has like a doctor.
Got a bit of a windfall.
What's a windfall? He did a $10,000 crypto scam. And he actually has like a doctor confirmation of the blood cancer. I'll throw $5,000 towards his medical treatment. I'll make that personal pledge right now.
Holy shit.
Get 10,000. You're not seeing my medical records for 20, not for 50. You're not seeing my medical records.
$5,000.
In the future, then, when Boogie said,
So you don't want to show your medical records for $5,000? You always begging for money, bro. How? That's easy. That's a no-brainer.
I have to do XYZ scam to raise money because my medical bills are hurting so much. He can speak publicly about his medical issues to scam his fans to raise money, but he can't take $5,000 to privately confirm a diagnosis that he already publicly said that he has.
This is true, and you lied about cancer. This is the biggest scandal on the internet.
What do you know about Boogie's crypto scam?
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all?
Nope.
All right, we're going to have a chat about it. All right. Okay. So, Boogie, as everyone in chat knows, is an epic lolcow. Okay.
Wait.
It's
okay, we're not trying. I'm not watching this. We're not watching. No. I don't want to watch all of the lead up. I just want to watch the confrontation. That's what.
Video call. Oh
Destiny got caught up on all the lore of Boogie doing the crypto scam and all that, but that's not what I'm here for at all.
Oh God.
I want to see the confrontation.
You can get me on the show. Tell Keemstar to.
Cancer's not a thing that we're gonna.
I don't know what this is.
I've let you every other time.
Let's start here. I don't know what this is.
Cancer's better. I thank you. Thank you to the people that have reached out in the last 24 hours. Content creators, YouTubers.
2 years ago when he announced it, 2022. We can start from here.
Fans, friends, even people that don't even like me have had nice things to say, and I'm really grateful. Thank you. I have a favor to ask of those people, though, and I'm sorry to have to ask anything. But I see the rumor mills creeping back up again. The same rumor mill that's accused me of God knows what else. And this time they've decided that I am faking my cancer diagnosis. And whereas I know that those people know better, I know that nobody's that fucking stupid, it's still going to spread like wildfire. So number one, if you're that kind of person, fucking stop. I get it's fun to LARP about me. I get it's fun to pretend that I'm a piece of shit. And I get that I made my mistakes in the past. But cancer's not something to pretend about. Cancer's not something to joke about. Cancer's not something pretending that I'm lying about cancer for clout and views.
He is absolutely lying. What a piece of shit. Unless he posts something in here to prove it wrong.
The fucked up thing to do. Get help. Secondly, if you see a YouTuber saying that I'm faking this shit, link it to me.
He is faking
I
it.
normally free speech.
Faking it.
Can see the whole
Faking it.
yards, but
Yep, sue me. Sue me.
it's time I finally put my fucking foot down if I have to.
Hold on.
So I will here. Okay? And thirdly, if you see the shit in comment sections, if you see videos about it, shout these motherfuckers down. Let them know. Let them know reality. I get that it's fun to pretend. I get that it's fun.
I wonder why he feels so strongly
to dunk on me
that.
and try to ruin my life. I get it. But fuck you if you're doing that.
Live here right now.
I don't want to let you this time. I've let you every other time. I didn't give a fuck what you had to say. But cancer's not a thing that we're going to joke about, okay? Cancer's not a thing that we're going to pretend I'm lying about. That's not a thing we're going to do. Okay?
If you can get me on the show, tell Keemstar to DM me on Twitter, and I will get on my phone and I will be on the show, okay?
Here we go. We got a call.
Oh God.
Here we go.
Let's see if it works. Good luck.
Join video call. Oh my God, there's so many people.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh shit.
a popular streamer by the name of Destiny.
Yeah, I know.
Where the fuck is our webcam at?
Listen, probably OBS is using it.
Oh my God! Hold on, we're turning the camera on.
I have to delete it.
You guys literally ruined the intro. He gave you guys a big shout out.
Can you just shut the fuck up?
And then there's no
Shut
camera.
up. You're so
and
negative.
it's just your voice, and it's just fucking cringe.
Everything about.
There.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have a camera?
You know.
How you guys doing tonight? What's going on?
Yeah, how's it going? We can see you. You guys look fantastic.
Turn it on.
I mean, some of you.
Don't
at
be
least.
so friendly.
What kind of
There we are.
Hey,
Oh
there
my
we go.
God, we're on.
But that's
But
a
not
different
X.
camera though.
Okay, we don't need him. Don't worry about him.
Yeah, you're not. You can say whatever you want. And it's gonna be like we said it.
All right, are we good to go?
Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Boogie2988, you are being confronted tonight.
2488.
I am 99% sure
Oh,
that
shit.
you are faking.
No, don't move.
You are faking your cancer diagnosis, Boogie.
Hey, can you imagine though?
Okay,
Like
let's hear it.
he don't give a fuck. He just like, hey, you ain't got cancer for real, bro. Like that's fucked up. But he probably got a strong reason to believe
that.
Let's hear that.
Did the doctor ever tell you, or did he ever say the word cancer?
He said polycythemia vera, which is a form of cancer, as he explained it to me. And no, it is not secondary polycythemia, which is Nicholas Diorio's explanation for this bullshit.
So I think it is secondary polycythemia. Can you
Well,
explain?
then why would he call it? Why would he call it polycythemia vera? Why would he tell me that I have hormone markers in my blood that tells me I have polycythemia vera? Why does he
wings
order
those
a
camera like
bone
this.
marrow biopsy to confirm it?
Well, if he ordered a bone marrow biopsy to confirm it,
misspoke.
it would be weird that you told us that you already had a diagnosis and a confirmation. If it
Because
has been
the
confirmed,
markers are in my blood. The hormone markers are in
See,
my
Destiny is like a fucking savant. Like he like looked into this stuff deeply to figure out all the terms and the symptoms and the remedies and all that and the history. Like he literally went to look up the two differences of these two cancers and came up with an idea of why he thinks Boogie is lying, because he's showing signs of having secondary and not the real deal thing. And he already fucking remembered it and is confronting him about it on his show. It's like, how the fuck do you just retain all that shit so quick?
my blood.
correct.
Destiny.
But you said that you'd received a diagnosis, but now you just told me that you got a bone marrow biopsy to
It's
confirm.
a diagnosis, and now we're confirming.
Sure.
It's called a confirmation.
So-
The hormone markers are already in my blood.
Yep. So I think what
And
happened
we
is,
are
Boogie,
confirming
based on
it with
everything.
biopsy,
Yeah.
because I'm wanting to do that, because I'm praying to God I don't fucking have cancer.
He doesn't care,
I'm praying to
Jake.
God I'm taking the 1 in a million fucking chance that they're fucking wrong, and that there's another reason that I have the hormone fucking imbalances in my blood.
Yeah. Why are you praying to God 2 years after you said that you have cancer that you don't have cancer?
Oh shit. I would love to hear an explanation for that.
Because 2 years ago, they told me I have polycythemia vera based on the fact that I had increased red blood.
The fuck is Wings doing in the bottom right corner? That's Wings of Redemption. What the hell is he doing? Okay.
Told me
Boogie.
I have polycythemia vera based on the fact that I had increased red blood cell counts, increased hemoglobin, and the hormone markers in my blood. And it all spelled pretty definitively that I have this. And so he wanted to get a bone marrow biopsy, but it is intrusive and expensive, so they decided to forego it. I would like to still get it done because I am hopeful, I am praying that there's a fucking merciful God of the world that would be willing to fucking let this be wrong, even though it most certainly is not.
So why are you?
Wait, it sounds to me like the recommendation is to not go through with this process because it's probably not what he thinks it is as far as how bad the cancer is, but he wants to do it anyway to be sure, which to me does sound like you probably don't have this real cancer. You just want to pretend like you have it already because you heard some bad signs and you want everybody to feel sorry for you. That's what it sounds like. I could be wrong.
Talking about expensive cancer treatments that they don't even know if you have cancer. That nothing has been.
Yes. He's not confirmed to have cancer because if he had cancer, they would go through the processes of trying to get rid of it or to have a definitive answer. It sounds like I said, I think I was right. it sounds like he doesn't really have the real cancer. He just has some signs that may be something they need to keep track of, meaning he doesn't really have it. He's just been saying he has it, and he probably doesn't.
From good. It's been 2 years.
Treating it, dipshit.
They're not. How are they treating?
How are you treating it if you don't?
How are they treating it, Boogie?
Blood test, blood thinners, bloodletting, medications.
Bloodletting.
They're trying to get my weight down.
Bloodletting?
I see the doctor every 3 fucking months. I'm doing blood tests every fucking month. We're doing it.
Yep.
So they don't know
What
if
do
you
you
have
wanna know?
cancer or not. So can I
You want to hold
understand
my
this?
fucking hand?
Well, sure. So I mean, I can explain. So I can explain everything, right? So Boogie has a condition
Go
called
right ahead.
polycythemia, which means there's an elevation in his.
Polycythemia vera.
No.
Polycythemia vera.
You fat fuck. I want to hear the guy that actually knows something.
Polycythemia vera.
Jesse,
He
go
knows
ahead.
more about my fucking medical diagnosis
Yes.
than I do.
He said yes. He knows more about your medical diagnosis than you do, and you have it. That's fucked up.
Head. I was in the fucking room. My girlfriend was in the fucking room. And they told me, so go right the fucking head, Destiny. Go right the fucking head.
Yo, be nice. Be nice,
Okay,
Boogie.
yeah, I will go ahead. Okay, so I think that Boogie was told that he has polycythemia, which means he has an elevation of his red blood cells.
Okay.
Now, there is a cancer known as polycythemia vera, which is caused by a mutation in some part of your body that causes an elevation of 3 different levels of things that you'll find. One of those is the red blood cell count. However, when Boogie was talking about the polycythemia, he mentioned a couple things that I thought were interesting. The first was that taking an exogenous hormone, TRT, testosterone, that caused a increase in him developing this condition. So taking testosterone will not cause you to develop a cancer. That doesn't, not for this particular cancer, it won't. It will cause you to develop secondary polycythemia. The second thing that he mentioned was that his doctor ordered a sleep study. That's because one of the things that can cause your body to produce more red blood cells is if you have hypoxemia, which is a lower count of, or a low amount of oxygen in your blood for an extended period of time. And the reason why he ordered that sleep study is probably because Boogie either has pulmonary obstructive something, or he has, as he mentioned, sleep apnea. And sleep apnea, which is a decrease in oxygen overnight, can lead to a decrease in oxygen in your blood, which can lead to an increase in the production of red blood cells. All of the things that Boogie described, both the things that cause this and the treatments for it, are consistent with secondary polycythemia. None of these are consistent with cancer, and the fact that he's saying that they've now ordered a biopsy 2 years
Let him
after.
finish.
Wait, 2 years
Let him
after.
finish.
Wait, let me just finish real quick.
Let him finish.
Let me finish real quick. Wait, real quick.
He's not done. He's not done.
Yeah,
Gangster
2 years
beats.
ago, you said that you had a cancer diagnosis, but now you've just said
did.
now they're doing a biopsy to check for cancer.
Confirmation.
Confirmation means you don't know. If you need it to be confirmed, that means you don't know if you have it or not, bro. He's like confirmation as if that's changing something. To confirm something means you can't definitively say until it's confirmed.
Wait, is this House MD? Are we treating a blood cancer without actually confirming it yet? For 2 years you've been having a cancer treatment without confirming there's actually cancer there?
Right.
Because it was in my blood markers, and that's pretty goddamn definitive. You can Google that, Destiny.
And what you need
have the
confirmation
hormones-
for,
When you have the hormone
that's
in
definitive.
the blood that is produced by this cancer, it's pretty goddamn definitive. It doesn't show up for just the shit's sakes of it.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
Look, you want to keep saying you're the patient, you know what your body has.
Yes.
But when I go to the doctor, they give me shit like this.
Yep. Because I was going to say, Boogie can end this whole thing. Show me a
their
single
diagnosis.
document with polycythemia vera on it. You don't have one. I don't think the doctor ever diagnosed you with it.
Can I ask you
Jesus.
something, Destiny? Is it possible that when the doctor was seeing him, they were asking you could have polycythemia, if I'm saying it correctly, or polycythemia vera, but you don't have the cancer version. You have this version.
Correct.
There
So-
is own
polycythemia.
I'm asking him. Is it could be like a lost in translation? type of thing?
Yeah. So polycythemia just means you have an elevation of red blood cells. That's all that means. Your red blood cell count is high. And
So
I
you
think
can just be fat and sleep apnea can create
sleep
that.
apnea could do it. Yeah, anything. Yeah, like that could cause it. And the fact that Boogie said we knew that when I was taking TRT, this was a risk of that. That means that risk is to develop secondary polycythemia. That was the risk, and then that is what ended up happening, unfortunately. But it's not cancer. That was induced because of just a low oxygenation of the blood.
So why? Explain to me, Destiny, why there are markers, hormone markers in my blood that have tested positively for polycythemia vera.
If there was, then he wouldn't have.
Then why do you need confirmation if you have Vera? You wouldn't need confirmation if you have Vera.
I'm never showing any of these.
And like he said, the real thing is, has the doctor said you have polycythemia vera or you have cancer? Did the doctor say those words, or are you just inferring that since you have all these symptoms, you have the real cancer?
Motherfucker, my medical paper. Go fuck yourself. I said that 2 years ago, and I'm staying by it now. Destiny, Jackson, Clark, Keemstar, you can see it when I fucking die. It's my fucking goddamn medical record. I've given you every goddamn phone call. I've given you every fucking text. I've given you. It's never made a single goddamn thing better. I'm not gonna fucking do it. Go fuck yourselves.
You could easily end this right now by just showing.
I would rather you motherfuckers continue to LARP. I would rather you motherfuckers continue to LARP.
Okay, well, no, here's an easy question.
Goddamn thing. The last goddamn thing.
You're the one who's used
piece
the
of
LARPing.
fucking security I have in the fucking world.
So the easy thing here is, if there are blood markers that definitively confirm polycythemia vera as a blood cancer, then why are they doing a biopsy?
Because I'm insisting on it. Because I'm hoping the microphone.
No, wait. Why would you have to insist on a biopsy if you can confirm with with blood markers? It's because you can't.
Because I'm hoping that I are wrong.
If you're hoping they're wrong, then why 2 years ago you talked?
What do you mean hoping they're wrong? You already said you're confirmed to have cancer. How can you now hope that they're wrong about that diagnosis? That doesn't make any sense.
Talking about fighting cancer. Why would you be talking about like?
I have been for 2 years.
Fighting cancer? How? With what? With blood thinners?
This one's for you, Boogie.
Because oh goddamn it!
Now he got an L.
Polycythemia vera almost identically to the way that you treat polycythemia, because you can't attack the cancer directly. All you can do is treat the symptoms, and the symptoms are identical to polycythemia because it's the same fucking thing, with the exception of one's getting caused by an external source and the other's being caused by fucking cancer. And in this case, it's getting caused by fucking cancer, Destiny.
So I do think there are different treatments available for polycythemia vera, and I think that the outcomes for that are significantly worse than just having it induced by some other thing like sleep apnea or hypoxia. But I mean, if you wanted to,
the treatment plan is pretty identical.
Yeah,
the treatment plan is pretty identical.
So if there are two huge things. So one, you could show it to a private party and they could confirm, somebody like Keemstar. But two, the issue is that if you want to keep your medical issues to yourself, I think everybody is entitled to that right, obviously. But if you're going to come out,
I should have never talked about it to begin with. I should have never talked about it to begin with.
Oh, please! If you never talked about it to begin with, you wouldn't have got any money to take care of it.
Wait, hold on, stop. Hold on.
One of the reasons I was going to do a GoFundMe was because they verify, for the record. They verify.
They verify?
So
that would be the third party that I would.
Yeah, so GoFundMe does not do the best verification, as has been.
And they don't, because fucking Pop the Balloon guy just got his money he just got his money released, so no.
And proven multiple times in the past.
Yep.
But the issue is that you say that you shouldn't have talked about it, but the fact is that you did. You did the day that you got the diagnosis. You were like, well, I was considering doing this, but I just got my diagnosis today. So you weren't considering. You did it instantly.
I sat on it for a while. I sat on it for a while.
Wait, on your tweet, did you not say that I got my diagnosis today and then talk about it?
Yes.
They told me. Okay. They told me in the office. That they
I'm
were
sorry.
Then
I'm
they
sorry.
did the blood
Like
test.
it's just looking like a lie. Like look at how Boogie tried to gather himself to answer.
Diagnosis today and then talk about it.
They told me. Okay.
They told me.
They told me in the office that they were worried about it. Then they did the blood tests. Then yes, I did tweet about it on the day that I got confirmation. But I sat on it for a couple of months before, or for a couple of weeks before talking about it, because it took a while for us to get the blood results.
So you sat on it when you didn't know the answer? That's not called sitting on it. That's just called waiting for an answer.
Yo, oh man, I don't think he realizing what he's saying.
Or for a couple of weeks before talking.
I sat on it.
I sat on it for a couple of months before, or for a couple of weeks before talking about it, because it took a while for us to get the blood results.
So you sat on it when you didn't know the answer? That's not called sitting on it. That's just called waiting for an answer. Also, if you were so keen on diagnosing whether you had cancer or not, why would you wait 2 years to get the biopsy?
You've ever followed my Twitter before, but I tend to tweet shit as it happens. This one I started
real-time news, motherfucker.
I don't understand why you're waiting. I don't understand why you wait 2 years.
Solid cancer diagnosis.
Cancer's pretty fucking serious.
There is no cancer.
Cancer's pretty fucking
serious. It's secondary polycythemia. There is no cancer here. There's no proof of it. You can't show anybody proof of it because it's not real. And yeah, I don't know. As somebody that like his mom had cancer, it's just a little bit gross, I feel like, when people are talking publicly about fighting cancer and
Who
stuff.
was the person that faked cancer before? The chick. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, only had cancer once. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a vintage meme.
No, that's
a vintage.
Wasn't it Emily from RuneScape or something?
There's so many people that don't know that meme right now.
Yeah.
Can I ask Boogie? Is it possible that you just jumped the gun on releasing your diagnosis thing?
No.
You don't think you jumped the gun a little bit?
Now he didn't jump the gun after he just said, I shouldn't have said anything about it. I shouldn't have said anything. You know you had to say something because Boogie's YouTube career has been going downwards for years. So he probably just needed a reason to gain sympathy and have people watch him out of sympathy. And he's gotten money from saying this. He's saying every dollar he just got exposed for kind of scamming his audience for a crypto scam, claiming I didn't expect them to buy it, even though he was getting paid to do the promotion for the crypto. And you thought that you, by saying don't buy it unless you're stupid, means they won't buy it. Why would they pay you to not receive some type of kickback? Why would the company pay you to do this advertisement for their crypto if they didn't anticipate to get some money back out of it? That doesn't make any sense, bro. So, and then when the exposer guy, what the fuck is his name? CoffeeZilla. When CoffeeZilla said, okay, well, you're going to get a money back. You're going to pay the money back because that was pretty unethical for you to do to your fans. He like, no, I'm not. That money's gone. It's gone. I had to pay off my medical bills. And like, come on, bro.
Anything is possible, sure.
I just don't understand why you won't just go grab a piece of paper and just disprove them.
Because I don't have
all these feelings.
He has nothing with
printouts.
those words on it.
Number two, and like I said a year
I'm
ago,
sorry. Like, if you Boogie acts like he's just so like, I'm an idiot, I'm stupid, blah, blah, blah. And now all of a sudden he got all these morals like, I'm not showing my medical records. But you've been parading that you've had cancer for 2 years and you've gotten money for your treatment of it. I think as somebody, if I sent you money, I wouldn't be thinking you're demeaning yourself by letting me know that you really have this issue and you really need help to deal with it. If they fuck with you, you owe them that. If nobody else, fuck Destiny and them. You owe the people that's been sending you money to know that you actually got cancer because you're getting challenged on it and it's not looking good. I don't know what little bit of dignity you think you got left after you done been on all fours begging for Keemstar to forgive you because you fucked up. I think you've passed the bar of dignity, sir. Like, you're way below that.
Ago when these motherfuckers tried to
Hold on.
This is the one last thing I have left. You motherfuckers were in my marriage. You guys were in everything else. You're in every aspect of my life. Fuck you. Let me have one goddamn.
Who's ruining? You put all this shit on the internet. Nobody did anything to you. You make a fool of yourself all the time on the internet. You can't blame everybody else for that shit.
Tell me tomorrow. Lead. Boogie lies about cancer than to hand this shit over to you pieces of shit. That's just. I'd rather do that. I'd rather do that. Go ahead, print it, Dexterdo. Go ahead and print it.
What?
Can you get your patient portal up on your phone and like send it to Tommy?
I'm not going to.
He's never doing that. He does not have a cancer diagnosis. There is 0% chance that he has one. Remember, every leading thing for this cancer diagnosis the doctor talked about has to do with secondary polycythemia. The sleep apnea was a contributor to that, and the TRT was a contributor to that.
Of course, except for the hormone markers in my blood.
But if you had hormone markers for it, that's either a definitive diagnosis, in which case you wouldn't be getting a biopsy 2 years later, or it wasn't definitive and you would have gotten a biopsy 2 years later instead of saying they're treating you for cancer for 2 years. You just said before that you don't have the money for extra medical stuff. If they don't need that test to confirm cancer, why would you spend extra money on a biopsy they don't need?
I don't know if you heard of this, Destiny. I just got a bit of a windfall.
Ooh.
Might have heard about it.
Yeah, you may have heard of it.
We have.
What's a windfall?
He did a $10,000 crypto scam, using partly his cancer thing as an excuse for why he needed to scam his fans.
But I just want to. I want to join real quick because you just got caught lying about me to CoffeeZilla.
Seems like a lot of effort to go through.
And now you're being confronted. And now you're being confronted on one of the biggest lies on internet history.
I can't take it seriously.
And you won't prove it?
How are you in this position and you refuse to prove that you actually have cancer when it's something as simple as getting a piece of paper? That's insane to me.
No,
prove it.
I'd rather you go ahead and print it.
If this is true, and you lied about cancer, this is the biggest scandal on the internet.
And it's not, but go ahead and print it anyway. Go ahead and print it anyway. I pretty much prove it. None of you motherfuckers.
Fucking
I said this
prove
2
it.
years ago, and I'm not doing it today.
I'm not doing it today.
Print it the way it is. Go right ahead.
Print it.
What are you
Okay,
talking
so
about?
I guess just to wrap up, because we don't want to take all your guys' time tonight.
Very
so just as
busy
a couple
people.
things, right? So the story as laid out,
Yes.
if you look up secondary polycythemia versus
Yes.
polycythemia vera, all of the leading things that Boogie talks about leading to his condition are consistent with secondary polycythemia, not the mutation that would cause polycythemia vera. The things that Boogie says that his doctor wants him to check for afterwards, like doing a sleep study, are consistent with secondary polycythemia, not primary polycythemia.
also
And the fact that he says, I'm almost done. The fact that he says that he had the blood markers or something to confirm it 2 years ago, but is now getting a biopsy for secondary confirmation, even though he says he doesn't have the money for medical bills, but I guess now that he does have money, he's going to waste all of it on biopsying things that are already confirmed, or at least confirmed enough that he wanted to talk about it publicly for 2 years ago, and then use it to fundraise the money that he now has so that he can do the biopsy that I don't even think he's doing, by the way. I don't think he's actually doing that biopsy. I think that's a lie as well. And if you wanted to disprove it, all he has to do is show a private party this particular medical thing, and and it would be.
That's also fraud. That's just fraud.
To summarize,
And I never will. That's crazy that you just
kind of unlucky
refuse
he
this.
doesn't have cancer.
I mean, for this particular case, yeah. I mean, if you want, here, I'll do this.
That's
If-
fucked up. He told us so in this case, he's kind of unlucky he doesn't have cancer. He said, well, in this situation, yeah, like that's fucked up though. But it's true, like, bro, you ain't got cancer and you've been lying. That's insane.
He can confirm if Boogie can confirm that he has polycythemia vera, and he actually has like a doctor confirmation of the blood cancer, I'll throw $5,000 towards his medical treatment. I'll make that personal pledge right now.
Get 10,000. You're not getting my medical records for 20, not for 50.
Why he say you're not getting after Destiny said you could show it to a third party? You don't have to show it to me as Destiny. You can show it to Tommy. You can show it to Keemstar, whatever, but you don't have to show it to Destiny. He said if they see it, he'll give it to you. He said you're not getting my medical records. That's crazy. And he needs money, and he knows he's fucking lying.
He has polycythemia vera, and he actually has like a doctor confirmation of the blood cancer. I'll throw $5,000 towards his medical treatment. I'll make that personal pledge right now.
How do you deny that? How do you turn that down?
Get 10,000. You're not getting my medical records for 20, not for 50. You're not seeing my medical records.
$5,000.
I said this.
I don't get it. You leak your own medical history, but you won't leak
Just
that
remember,
information.
okay, so then I just want people to remember in the future then, when Boogie
Oh my
says, I have to
God.
do XYZ scam to raise money because my medical bills are hurting so much, he can speak publicly about his medical issues to scam his fans to raise money, but he can't take $5,000 to privately confirm a diagnosis that he already publicly said that he has.
Privately, it's like he just said, he's not saying show it to the world right now on screen, even though that shouldn't be a big deal. He's like, no, I'm not showing it to anybody. Like, what is happening, dog?
To raise money, but he can't take $5,000 to privately confirm a diagnosis that he already publicly said that he has. Doesn't make any sense, but okay.
That is a bad look.
Even I have a fucking limit. Even I have a.
How is this the limit? You've already told everybody you have cancer. So what is the problem? You have gotten on your knees and begged another grown man to forgive you and recorded it. How is this the limit? What world are we in right now?
Fucking limit.
What's the limit, though? Yeah, I think you can probably understand that he.
My limit is my medical records. You told everybody, bro. You told everybody. How is that the limit? This is insane. Everybody knows you have it. They just want to see the confirmation. Confirmation. Remember you were talking about confirmation.
There's a big history of people, I guess, scamming people with cancer, and it's like the worst of the worst. And you're getting confronted with that right now, and your response to that is nuh-uh.
Go ahead.
It's nuh-uh.
I'm not going ahead. I'm explaining to you.
Go right the fuck ahead.
What do you mean go ahead?
I'm not going ahead with anything.
What do you mean go ahead?
Speaking to you.
No, I'm saying run.
I'm trying to explain to you why we're in this situation. Is just that people view this as one of the lowest things, right? It's about as bad as it gets.
You have polycythemia vera. Why aren't you just trying to disprove that, other than them making you look like you're
because 2 years ago,
cancer for a donation?
2 years ago, I'd rather that than the.
Why would you rather that? That's so stupid.
This is the last thing I have is my medical.
All right, do you care about this anymore?
If I hand this over, I've given over literally every goddamn thing.
What if you give me directly?
Wait, fuck, Dan and this
That's so stupid.
This is the last thing I have is my medical.
All right, do you care about this anymore?
If I hand this over,
what do you mean this is the last thing I have? That's the last thing that matters in the world. You have a whole girlfriend. Like, this is all I have is my medical records. Yeah, and that's the last thing you have to save face to not look like the biggest scammer of 2024. You've already done the crypto and you skated. You kind of skated by with that because you made the money and didn't even have to return it, and you spent it all, and your audience just lost out on some money. And you saying now this is all you have left is your medical records? Bro, get the fuck out of here.
If I hand this over, I've given over literally every goddamn thing.
What if you give it directly to Destiny himself? I mean,
it's funnier if we just hang up on that.
Medical
fuck Destiny.
And you know what? This might have turned out differently had he messaged me the night before, and we had the conversation.
Yeah.
Why would that change anything? You're here now being confronted about having cancer. Why would it matter if he messaged you the day before? Why? So you had time to make up a diagnosis? Is that why?
Yeah. You wouldn't have nagged him for a whole night not to come out.
Why leak the whole medical history, not just the confirmation?
Because I don't know. I have no idea.
All right, well,
What excuse
Leak the whole medical history, not just the confirmation.
Because
you wouldn't have nagged
what
him
the
for a
fuck
whole night not to
XQC be
come
saying?
out.
Why leak the whole medical history, not just the confirmation?
Because I don't know. I have no idea.
All right, well, hey, thanks a lot, guys. Cool. We'll see you guys
Take
later.
care, Destiny.
Bye.
Thanks for coming out.
Thanks, man. Good night, guys.
Yeah, have a pleasant evening.
He is shaking.
Bro,
I was so right. 100%. He was faking it, right? None of his story makes sense. I was so right.
I don't fucking know.
It's kind of hard not to pull a fucking Soldier Boy and just go, and you fat as fuck or some shit.
Why?
Is that where your mind is going?
Right,
by
why
the
would you
way?
say that?
Oh my god,
childish.
dude! I didn't watch this, but apparently it was a good documentary. Is the thing on this dude? Did you see it?
I did see it, and it was pretty good. It was done really well.
Okay, so what is the cliff notes on this dude? Because all I know is he was fat as fuck, and I guess he lost weight, but then he got it back, or maybe he didn't get super not fat. I don't know.
I thought he got a the thing where they make your stomach not as big or not as stretched, whatever. And
The
they staple
staple,
it.
yeah, the staple thing.
I've had friends get that.
Okay.
Then they're not too good.
Oh, you're talking about that's gastric bypass surgery.
Well,
The
that's right. It's a
pre-gastric
gastric bypass.
method.
Yeah, but that's good though, because if you continue on your plan with dieting and exercise, whatever,
Yep.
right? Then you garner good results because you're on a path, and that kind of plateaus you up, right?
Yeah.
But you have to continue that way, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't, then it's kind of useless.
Yeah, it just fucks you.
Then you just plateau up. That's it.
Okay.
Welcome to Let's Rant
Damn,
About.
bro. Damn, bro. Boogie, wow, man. Like, I'm sorry. If you ask me, he cooked. He's cooked, if you ask me. He is cooked. Oh, man. That's insane. Like, he might be done after this. All I've been seeing on my feed is Boogie lied, Boogie fake this cancer, I'm like, damn, like, it's definitely confirmed. Like, but that to me, I'm like 90% sure he doesn't have cancer. That's crazy. Man, that's crazy. But hold on, y'all. I'll be right back before we get to this second video. All right, we back. So next video, I'm gonna gear up to watch is I don't know exactly who is the original host or where the show comes from exactly. It's called Let's Rant About It or Let's Rant. And I happened to see that Anton Daniels was a guest on the show. Anton Daniels is another Manosphere guy, you know, with the Kevin Samuels, the Fresh and Fizz, O'Shea Duke Jackson, MTR, all those guys, you know, they run in a circle called the Manosphere. I wouldn't call him Red Pill. He doesn't seem to fall into the Red Pill category, but he's in the Manosphere category. Red Pill is like a subsect of the Manosphere, but not all Manosphere men are necessarily Red Pill. But they were talking about step parents, and that's what the bulk of their conversation was about. And as a step parent, I think it'll be interesting to talk about it, see what's said about it, any truths, lies, or anywhere in between that we can discuss, because I think that I have a lot of mixed feelings about some of the stuff I heard on here. So we're going to chop it up, and then, you know, anybody want to hop in the convo, let's go ahead and do it, man.
Where we have a real conversation about real life topics. It can get a little passionate, but we keep the vibes high with honest opinions.
All right.
Getting started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now.
Let's rant.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your girl, Randy Rosario. Welcome to
You is Lala. You Lala. That's who you is.
Let's Rant About It, where we have authentic conversations from our point of view. I'm sitting here with the cool kids as usual. We got my mentor, Anton Daniels. We got one of my good friends, Kitty J. Rose. We got my best friend in the whole wide world, Rizzy. We got my good friend, Keita Rose. And little big bro, Rico Hundo. This is so Hundo.
I don't know anybody but Anton and Rico, and I only know Rico from the 8 at the Table. I don't even watch that heavily. I just see whatever clips look decent, I'll watch, but I don't really watch it. I do get really tired of the dating dynamic conversation shit, especially when it's a bunch of people lying just to make money. I get tired of it, so I don't watch it heavily. I just know its name.
Let the record show, this is very refreshing to be in a space with you where we're not arguing, Rico.
Yeah.
This is dope. It's so much growth over the past 2 years.
It's been a lot of growth. I was going to see it in a lifetime.
I didn't either.
Get out
it's crazy, right? Right? So today we are talking about the most ghetto hood of them all. Parenthood. The fact that everybody runs it. The fact that everybody runs it is hilarious. Let's get right into this. We all talk about generational curses and, you know, things that we had to heal from our own childhoods, but we never really do the intro work to say, what type of things will our own children possibly have to heal from once they become adults, when they look back on their childhood? Has anybody ever given any thoughts to something like that?
Always. I haven't thought of like what specific things, but I do know that I will need to say sorry. And then this is the reason. The reason is because no matter how great you think you are as a parent, no matter how much you think you're doing so well, there's always going to be something that your children said was toxic. If you're overbearing, they'll say that that was toxic. If you didn't pay enough attention, they'll say that that was toxic. So I'm just ready to say, I apologize and help heal whatever needs to be healed.
Yeah, because you can't even predict nothing like that. You don't. It's no handbook to parenting. It's a right and wrong way to do it, and it's not a one size fits all type of thing. Like people do the best that they can with the tools that they have, and then sometimes you think it's best, and then you look back and it may not have been because of the personality of your child. So all you can do, like she said, and you can't really argue with them because they're gonna feel how they feel. You can't change it. All you can do is work from it. And what the heck?
My medical records for 20, not for 50. You're not seeing my medical.
Sorry. And then this is the reason. The reason is because no matter how great you think you are as a parent, no matter how much you think you're doing so well, there's always going to be something that your children said was toxic. So I think that's the problem with parenthood. We think we did everything right, or I tried, or I gave you everything. That doesn't mean that they didn't experience some type of trauma or had a bad experience with you. And so a lot of the times when children break away from their parents, it's because parents can't even say, I'm sorry, I hear you, you were right. Like they act like it's gonna kill them to just, you know what I mean? Show that humility, and I don't know, that's not gonna be me.
Some parents don't think they made the mistakes that children think they made.
Baby,
Have you ever heard?
Girl, I made some mistakes now, okay? And I don't mind apologizing to my children,
Right,
okay?
I'm sorry.
But my oldest baby, I always said it, because I have one adopted, and then both of them the same age, 16. And my oldest baby.
Bro, I'm not trying to be that person, but is her eyelash falling, or is it so thick it looks like her eyes swollen shut?
She saw me through life.
The
okay?
left
She saw me
eyelash
chasing after
looks
men.
different than the right.
She saw me fighting. She saw me making bad decisions. And so when she got to that age to where she
Maybe
really started
she
liking
got a
little
lazy
boys,
eye or something.
and I started to see that she could not
Or is it
fathom
the
the
camera
idea of
angle?
not having someone around her. Also, I think I prioritized too much time on the work that I was doing, but it was
That
really because I
eyelash
was in
look
hard
I
spaces
look
in my life.
crazy, bro.
And of course, children don't understand that. So I used to make this excuse, well, I'm giving you quality time because I'm around you, but it really wasn't. Like I was always working. My mom was always like, the head was on the phone. I was always on a laptop, and my children were pretty much just playing with themselves. Like I took a lot of things from my kids, and now watching my daughter, both of my daughters as a teenager, I'm helping one through her healing from her mom. So watching both of them, I feel like I've been absent in spaces where I should have been a lot more present, and just seeing how
I wonder
my
how
daughter can't
old
be
she
alone.
is.
And so we're really trying to work with that.
Yeah.
We're like help her work through that, and then truly like loving herself, because in society nowadays, I don't think I poured enough. I poured love into my kids, but I don't think I poured enough of that, that talk that parents need to give. Like, you don't have to be somebody else. I don't think I did that early on like I should have. I did that years later. And so now I'm seeing my daughter in this survival state just from being a teenager, just from being out in society, being around her own generation. And I beat myself up about that a lot. But me and my daughters, we have talks. I let my kids speak up and express how they feel. So we'll sit down and they'll tell me, yeah, mom, I don't like when you do this. Okay, cool. Let me change it. Yeah. So, but it definitely was a hard pill to swallow, especially when you have to listen to your kids cry for you about you.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I have gotten to the point where, actually, yeah, I have gotten to that point. Dominic, my 14-year-old he's a very non-confrontational person.
I want to know their ages and
y'all
tell
know
their
when I'm
experiences
speaking,
differently.
we can go there a little bit. Like, all right, so let's talk. You feel me?
Yeah.
And he was texting his mom some stuff, but kind of trying to play both sides.
Yeah.
And I had to let her know, like, he's trying to play in your face right now.
Mhm.
And the energy that I had to give him was revved up East Warren Randy. I had to give him that a little bit. And I had to realize that he can't handle that. I am a hood girl raising suburban babies. They can't handle the aggressive talk and things like that. And I had to, it really took, honestly, it took me realizing that Dominic is a young man. He's 14 years old. How I handle him now is how he's going to expect women to handle him in the future.
Absolutely.
So if I talk to him aggressive, if I'm, in his face like this or whatever, he's going to expect, or he's going to normalize that or think that that's how women are supposed to handle him, especially if he's seeing that in both households.
Right.
So I've had to take a step back and ask myself, how do I want to show up for him? What type of parent do I want to be?
Mhm.
And a lot of it is, you know, I had to learn that he has to fall sometimes.
Mhm.
I cannot be the parent
Yep.
that's just constantly just being a safety
I'm
net.
sorry, but this remind me of the memes that'd be like, you know how the memes be like, the female podcast, or they sit in a circle and they all say different. They all say something, be like, I had to learn how to fly without wings, and then they be like, like, this is what that reminds me of. It's okay. So Let's Rant is Anton Daniels' show, I believe. It looks like it's on his channel, but Randy Rosario hosts it. So I guess he hosts the show, but she is the host. But he houses it on his channel, I guess. But yeah, like the way they talking is just kind of like it's getting real head ass.
And that to me is the scariest.
I'm sorry, like I don't
in the world, because it's like, why do you have to scrape up your knee if I can just, you know, leave the training wheels?
Oh, I'm the opposite. I push the nigga right off. This is like, because I want you, and that just comes from my military background though, because it's like, you know, you need to know I'm not gonna I can't coddle you through. I can be there for you, and I can be your backbone, but I'm not gonna coddle you because no one's gonna love you like I do.
Yeah.
When you step outside this house, you about to see just how much they don't love you out here.
Yeah.
But you treat your daughters differently than your sons, though, right?
I don't have a daughter. I mean, I have a bonus daughter, but
Oh,
no.
I did at one time. I can honestly say I did. At one time, I definitely did. I was a lot harder on.
I love how he was ready to like get into that whole y'all baby, y'all daughters, but you treat your sons like shit, and she finna like
my girls than my boy, and man, I did coddle him.
you raised your daughter
And
different than
my
your boys,
husband,
right?
You coddled the boy?
Yeah, I did.
Coddled
And when
the
my
boy.
husband,
Look, he's like, you coddled the boy? How dare you stem away from the norm? How dare you stem away from the stigma? Like, how dare you stem away from that? You coddled the son, you're supposed to coddle the daughter. Like, clearly, you never heard of mama's boys? Mothers oftentimes coddle their sons because that's their sons and it's a mama's boy. Just like dads are easy on their daughters a lot. You shouldn't have been surprised by that. It's usually the dads that coddle the daughters and the moms that coddle the sons. Usually. So I don't even know why he acted like that. That was weird.
came in because, you know, not to discredit my son's dad, but, you know, I wish he was a lot more active than what he was. But when my husband came in, he was like, no, he said, this is not going to work for this little boy. And I couldn't fight that because it's like, I ain't never lived in the shoes of a man.
How they get the camera on
and
him?
He's going to have to. So there's certain things that bonus dad are going to have to deal with. And I sit back and I let it happen. And I just had to realize I was being a lot unfair. Like I was putting a lot of responsibilities on my girls for certain things. And it's like, why are you not putting these same responsibilities on your son?
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, I know it's certain things that
I wonder what the ages
girls
were
would
though.
probably
Too.
do better, but it was definitely a difference that I had for sure.
I could never be a stepfather.
Why?
I don't believe in that. Like I
don't believe in that.
I think that I call him step baby daddy. Or step crash dummy. I can't. I could never in my right mind.
Step crash dummy?
Step crash
crazy.
Why don't you believe in stepfathers?
Because he's always going to yearn to understand who he truly is from the person that he was born from.
No, you're 100%.
Yeah, I agree with
And
that.
so I don't see
That doesn't have anything to do with you though, as being a stepfather, a stepmother. Like, yeah, and you're forcing the implication that they don't have any relationship with their biological parent. Like that doesn't, just because you're a stepfather, it doesn't mean they have absolutely no relationship with the biological parent.
see the benefit that a guy gets out of raising another man's child.
And that's a totally separate point than what the child wants. If you don't feel like, I don't think any man would ever say like, hey, go be a stepdad. Like that's not like the end goal. It's not like the ideal position for anybody. But it's everything you do in life ain't always just to benefit you. Like, yes, you want to maximize your happiness, and that's fine. But if cards lay themselves out a certain way, you got to play that hand. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't just throw all your cards in and hope for something better the next time around. If it makes sense, you know what I'm saying? If you have the option to play. So, I mean, I get it. It's not nobody goes in their life like, I wonder who I could be a stepdad for. But it's just something that happens.
That's fair. That's fair.
And you can choose to not opt into it. That's fine. But crash dummy, no, nigga, you just don't want to do it.
It's no benefit.
That's,
it's a
you know what?
zero-sum statement.
As much as I
And there's benefits, but those benefits could still be they're subjective, of course. It's not an objective benefit. Like you have a parent that knows they may have more experience parenting than you, and versus two new parents doing it together, you have somebody that can help you be a parent, because you would hope that if you're gonna get a stepchild, that the parent is a good parent. If you know what I'm saying, that should be part of what you're picking for. You know what I'm saying? You're definitely improving the quality of life of your partner and that child. To me, that's a benefit. Whether you see it as one or not, it doesn't have to be to me, but for the betterment of the people around me and the people I care about, that I'm helping raise a child and giving them a better chance at life by giving them a 2-parent household.
I want to dislike that statement. I will say that.
And right, it's like the way he's saying it is bad. It's like there's some truth to it. Yes, as an individual person, I don't gain much out of that. Yeah, but if you gain things from making other people happy, then there's a benefit to it, because some people do things to make other people feel better. And in turn, making other people feel better makes you feel better.
It's a zero benefit.
Often, to some people.
Unless you just want to feel good about yourself.
Often,
right.
parenting.
But you can't say unless you want to feel good about yourself, because when you do things that make you happy, don't you feel good about yourself then too? That's why you do what you do, is to make yourself feel good, right? So if I feel good by making the people I care about feel good, how is that any different?
Can be a rewardless job.
It's actually it's more selfless than anything. And I mean, if you want to cop to being selfish, then that's fine. Selfish isn't inherently a bad thing, depending on the circumstance.
When you accept what your role is in it versus trying to be someone's everything, for me, it's been a bit different. And I will go as far as saying too, we have been able to establish our own relationship. I don't want to be your mama. I'm not your mama. I'm a mother figure to you. You have a mama. I don't need you to look.
And see, I wonder what he's gonna say to that, because like she said, like, you don't have to necessarily be the only parent in their life. That's not always the case.
Look at me and say,
and does this imply that when a mother's a single mother because the dad died or something, then like if you cared about that woman, you wouldn't be with her because she has a child? Like, that just sounds kind of evil. I don't know. Like, if you meet a woman and like her and the dad passed away somehow and you just like, no, you got a kid that's dead.
Oh, mom, A, B, C, D. No. You have a biological mother that you have access to for that. I'm here to be a pillar in the village and to help.
Especially at an older age. Now, if you're 22 years old, 20 years old, hell, even 27, I'm not saying you gotta like, yeah, that's my first option. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, once you older in age, you gotta, this just sounds immature, kind of.
I can't speak to it from a woman's perspective.
Yeah,
I think it's the same.
And let me tell you.
And I do think it's kind of the same. Like, you say you can't speak to it from a woman's perspective. Yeah, in some aspects, but it's the same thing. Like, we both, men and women, both have to deal with being single parents. That's not something one person has to do. And then it's totally different. Like, depending on if it's a boy or a girl, you might feel more strongly about it if it's a boy, because you say he's always going to want that yearning, blah, blah, blah. A daughter is going to probably want it too, but she'll be fine with the father figure that's really there, and a good father. Like, that's the thing too. Are you even a good father? Do you have belief in yourself that you could be a good father to somebody that's not your seed? You know what I'm saying?
I definitely, I agree and disagree with it.
Yeah, he's making it sound way worse than what it is, but it is some truth to what he's saying. Like, that shit isn't for everybody. It's not for everybody. Everybody's not even meant to be a parent of their own kids. So it's like, if you don't want to do that, that's fine. But the way you somehow like step crash out dummy and all that shit, you're not a crash out dummy for that, bro.
With it for a certain kind of man.
It's like the insults ain't necessary. You can say that I don't want to be a step parent.
Kind of traditional alpha man. It's not going to be able to do anything. And I don't say alpha man to try to say beta is different and sigma is bad and all that. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that a certain mindset, a certain man that wants to run everything, is going to be difficult having two lions in the family. Because a man like Anton is going to show up as the man. I'm doing this. I'm handling this. This is my village. To have another man that has come in and have any type of say so at all, I can see how that could be.
I definitely believe we gotta people prioritize
We gotta
nuclear
think about
families.
it. I want women to understand this. Just because a man has a penis, don't make him a man. He could be a male. There's not a lot. Most men aren't lions. Let's make sure that's understood.
Okay.
Right? So some men can raise another man's child because the real father ain't a lion. He's more like a gazelle. You know what I'm saying? The lion is now here.
The analogy is so head ass. Like, he didn't have to have the analogy. He just wanted to sound cool as he explained this. But I get what he's saying, though.
And I believe, I believe in God, and I believe in everything is a reason, right?
Right.
And like, my dad is a bitch ass nigga. My step pops, he ain't playing. You feel me? So like, I was already one.
And that's why I said, I'm like, just because you the biological parent of somebody, that don't automatically grant you the best parenting skills on earth. Like, there's other men that ain't parent you or ain't never been a parent and could be a better father figure than your real father. Like, for him, like, it's just, to me, it's kind of like, he's like, I couldn't be a stepdad, but I'm like, I'm guessing you want your own kids. And I believe he does have his own kids. But it's like, you might be a shit dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, that don't make you better than a nigga that's a stepdad for you to say they crash outs. You might be a shitty dad.
I wasn't playing coming out the woodworks.
Yeah.
So then if my dad was there, hypothetically, I would probably clash with him because he was already soft. You know what I'm saying? And I don't believe that just because you gave birth to something means that you are the best.
Why they put the camera on her and she did that? Like, she don't know. I'm sure she don't know, but it's like, they put it on her, and then they saw her doing that, and they kept it on her. Why are you not putting the camera on the person that's talking? That's weird.
Come
on, let's talk
you at
about
least
that.
show everybody.
That person that you gave
I'm sorry,
birth to,
I'm
whether you're a man or a woman.
So you believe nurture versus nature?
Yes.
Because nurturing that child is more important than possibly more important than nature.
I believe that nature.
Absolutely.
See, here's the thing: we get so confused about nature as if you are the only one of this child. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 generations of nature within this child that you ain't exuding yet. You remember the Punnett Square? In the Punnett Square, you had a 1 in 4 chance of being something.
Yes.
Right? So this child can have the bottom right quadrant, and you might have the top left.
Yeah.
You ain't fit to to raise that child, to be honest. So maybe somebody else who is in that bottom right quadrant is gonna be able to understand that man or that young woman or that young boy and really help them grow into what they need to be.
So you would advise your son to get with a woman that already have children?
Where did he get advice from? Why is he saying that? Like, that's the type of bullshit they be pulling. Like, they just like ask these presupposed questions like, so you would advise your son to get with a woman? Nobody is talking about advising anybody to do anything. All we're saying is you're disrespecting men that stepfathers, and that's the problem. And you'll see that Rico has he said he has a stepdad. Rico said he got a stepdad. So that's the problem. You're like disrespecting people with stepfathers, and just because you don't want to do it, and now you say you would advise. Nobody would advise a lot of people to do a lot of shit that their kids are going to do or they're going to do by happenstance within their lifetime. Like, just to say that he has a different perspective on what a stepfather could be don't mean like, hey, son, go out there and be the best stepdad you could ever be. Nobody's saying that, bro. But when you're put in a situation, you got to see what you dealt and play the game as it's been dealt. That's what you do. If you're 35 and you don't want to be single and you meet a woman that you feel you really got a good connection with and they got a decent child, why am I going to not date her over that? I should have kids on my own. And if I probably do more than likely at the age of 35. And whether I do or I don't, then you choose for what you want to choose for, bro. But if you really like that woman and she got a kid, that's not a reason to not mess with her.
If that
children, you would be okay with that?
Children,
remove yourself
I
out.
don't think nobody advises those scenarios
exactly
for their
But see,
children,
the
right?
problem is that
But sometimes it
start
just
saying men
happens
ain't
because
men.
they just might be in love. You can't control
You
who
can
love.
because marriage is a business first. It's a business
Do
first.
some.
We know statistics of what it is when men are where children are raised in certain type of household. We know what the statistics are, right? And so I'm not going to.
And you rather encourage them be raised in a single parent household when they have the option to have two. So we know what those statistics are, and it's not just about it being the biological parents. Yes, if we're going to do a ranking system, you probably want them to be the biological parent if we're going to go from the best case to the worst. But if we're doing that, to have a step parent is better than one.
Sit here and say a man isn't a man.
Damn,
based
I
off
think
of
I think
some
my contact
criteria that
ripped,
we make
y'all.
up,
I think it
right?
ripped.
Because I use data. The reality is this: what we are doing is excusing bad behavior. And instead of us going to the mothers and say, "Hey, why are you not accountable for who it is that you decided to open up your legs to?"
Bullshit.
Because we ain't having that conversation. The only thing we saying is, "Oh, that's a bitch ass nigga." But you opened up your.
No, we're not. We're going to base it off of whatever it is. If the father's a bitch ass nigga, we're going to say, he a bitch ass nigga. If the woman ain't shit and she ran him off or she not allowing a trying dad to see that child, be like, why the fuck are you treating the father of your child like that? Your child needs their father. They want them. The dad is trying, but you're just bitter because the relationship didn't work. Nobody's just saying this is a bitch ass nigga straight off GP. That's not what's happening. If you know the situation, you gonna call it as it is. But no, you just wanna. A lot of these manosphere dudes just gonna always just blame the woman. Why you open up your legs to him? Don't sit here and act like women don't fall for men and they change when they have kids. Don't act like that's not a thing. It's a thing and it happens. So let's not do that.
Legs to him, he wasn't a bitch ass nigga when you had sex
He
with him.
might have been.
When you know, but my point is
if we're
when
gonna
we can.
And even if, let's say she did ignore signs, now where we at? She might have learned a lesson that she shouldn't have. We can't go back and change the fact that this child is here and the father is absent. You just rather have more single parents than step parents. Which world would you rather live in? Where men are being step parents, or where we just have a bunch of single mothers? Which world would you rather be in, sir?
Continue to do this, we validate bad behavior.
And nobody's. Where's the validation? Where's the validation? Excuse me, because another man came up and he liked her and she had a child and he decided to date and or marry her. How is that validating? In a sense, okay, I will say in a sense, I guess I see what you're saying. It's like, it's fine that you did this and I'm still gonna date you. But I think long term that's still a better solution than just trying to have every woman be single. Because you don't want people to be together just out of the sake of the child. That's not good for the child either if the parents are displaying behaviors that aren't conducive to a good upbringing of the child.
Because you're saying that you can recover from this, when in reality we know statistically.
I understand that argument. I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't get what he's saying, because it's in a sense condoning their behavior. But at the same time, I would still rather people be step parents, because real life situations ain't perfect. And this sounds ideal where nobody has a child unless they're married. That sounds extremely ideal, but life don't work like that. And I don't know if it's even possible to change it. There's still other issues we have that the same thing can play out. Man, everybody be happier if no drugs existed. Everybody be happy if no murderers was around. Everybody be happier if it wasn't any if we weren't killing the earth. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he's supposed to speak on all these things, but it's so ideal, but we have to work with what's gonna actually happen. We can't stop people from murdering, but all we can do is try to minimize it and keep those people away from the general public. It would be ideal if people only had kids within a marriage, but even if you do that, the marriage doesn't always end up perfect. Like, I don't know. The world will never be that way. And a lot of manosphere men try to act like we got to operate out of what is, not what it should be or could be. That's a lot of what they say. So we should operate on what's happening. I think with what's happening, you should be advocating for men to be stepfathers if there's an opportunity that is too good to pass up as far as the mother and the child being a good offspring. Because I wouldn't even encourage, if you got a child that you feel like they're going to grow up and be a murderer, I wouldn't tell you to date them either. Because this is something you got to deal with and your life might be at risk. So, you know what I'm saying? That's part of it. Yeah, I gotta take this contact out. Y'all, hold on. Okay.
That child has a much greater chance of going to jail, a much greater chance of needing therapy, a much greater
Wait,
chance
is this greater chances with a single parent or a step
recover
parent?
from this. When in reality, we know statistically that child has a much greater chance of going to jail, a much greater chance of needing therapy, a much greater chance of joining a gang.
I don't even need to pull it up, but we all know that all applies to single parent houses. That's the greatest chance. That's not a greater chance than with a step parent household. Are you kidding me? Why are you? If that's your argument, you definitely should be advocating for step parents more than single parents. Because what are you saying we're supposed to do with all these single parents, sir? They're going to exist. You can't get rid of them. So what's the next step?
He has a much greater chance of being less successful. And instead of us saying, hey, hold on, hold that accountable so that this don't happen to the next generation.
I think I'm missing context.
No.
If what?
If that's
Exactly. He said that's from stepfathers. Can somebody please fucking answer that?
So that this don't happen to the next generation.
I think I'm missing context.
No.
If what?
If that's,
he has a much greater chance of doing all that. If what?
To say
if what?
It's a guy's responsibility to raise this child.
No, you didn't answer a fucking question.
I think I'm missing context.
No.
That's not from stepfathers. And I hate when it's a panel of a bunch of people that's either A, scared to challenge or challenges the wrong way and don't know the right questions to ask or what to say. Because don't say, oh, is that from stepfathers? Say, ain't that worse if they're single parents? You should have been like, isn't that the absolute, ain't that the exact scenario ain't that more likely to happen from single parents? And he will say yes, because otherwise he's lying. And then you're like, okay, so wouldn't a step parent be a better option than to just encourage women to just raise their children by themselves if the father is a shithead that won't help?
Chance of doing all that. If what?
To say it's
and
a
he's
guy's
not answering.
Responsibility to raise this child based off of a village concept or a community concept or because he's a real man. removes the accountability from the woman of actually making sure that she picked the right guy and to marry before she carry in the first place.
So what?
I don't think the scenario in most cases is that women are just having kids with a guy that's just like, he ain't shit. I don't think that's always the case. I think that sometimes love does blind people, and I think sometimes people do be in the moment, but they still don't see the worst outcome of it. And no woman has ever said, I'm going to go into this with the plans of doing it alone. No woman ever had a kid and was like, I'm going to do this by myself. If they know that, I mean, it's totally different when you do like the incubate, when you get a surrogate and shit like that. Or you know what I'm saying, or get your eggs frozen and you end up single. That's different. I still don't, I don't advise people to do that. But when women have sex with men and they plan to have a child with him, they don't go into it like, yeah, fuck him, I'm doing this by myself. If the plan was to make the child. And even if they decide to have it, if they have the child on accident, they still don't want to do it alone.
Before I carried, and then I got a divorce.
Married before she carried in the first place.
So what happened?
I married before I carried.
She married before she carried.
And then I got a divorce.
She got divorced.
What I see on Instagram,
that's not the norm. What I see on Insta. Wait a minute. This nigga finna use Instagram as a source?
I married before I carried, and then I got a divorce.
But that's not the norm, because what I see on Instagram
I have
and
a
social media
stepfather.
is people.
Instagram and social media is your source to say that that's not the norm. I don't know if it is or not. It's probably not. But she did it the right way and ended up divorced. So now is she just condemned from ever having a man because she did it the right way and it didn't work out? This man said that's not what I see on Instagram and social media, so it can't be true. What the fuck?
I'm trying to figure out what we talking about.
What I see on Instagram and social media is when a woman get pregnant.
Is that, and they're lost because he's not making any sense. He, again, is one of these people that just has talking points and there's no connection to the topic, because you just tried to act like a step parent is gonna have the child be in a worse situation than if they're single, because we're really talking about step parents versus single parents. We're not talking about step parents versus married parents, because obviously you believe that and that's the goal. Like, people ideally should aim for that. We're talking about step parents versus single parents, because you're saying you will never do it, and you're acting like that no man should. So what do you do with all these single parents, whether it's a man or a woman?
Regardless of whether she married, it's congratulations, sis.
Okay.
That's what I see. When a woman get pregnant, it's people
I'm trying
saying,
to figure out what we talking about.
what I see on Instagram and social media is when a woman get pregnant, regardless of whether she married, it's congratulations, sis.
Okay.
I understand that. I get that. I do think that it's a little strange. I'm not gonna lie. It is a little strange when people celebrate pregnancies and they're not in even a relationship. You know, I'm not gonna go as far as he probably would say married. I think when you're not even in a relationship, I'm not saying you should not be happy that you're having a child, but I do think it's a little bit like it's validating, and I don't. It's just hard, because if you're friends with that person, you don't want to judge them in that moment of something that they may be happy about, you know? And it is really a tricky situation, because ideally I don't think it's an accomplishment to congratulate that you're having a child as a single parent. It happens. And you should get help. People should support you if you make that decision as a human being. You shouldn't feel like you got to judge the people you care about because of a decision they made that may or may not affect their life negatively. But I understand that, and I do think that there is something a little bit off about, like, congratulations on your child and you're like actively by yourself doing it. I'm not even judging people in a relationship to do it. Everybody don't want to get married, but they, you know what I'm saying? Some people don't want to be married, whatever. Some people anticipate getting married and things happen. If you're in a relationship, yeah. But when you're just like literally single and you having a child and there's no man involved in the situation whatsoever, I do have a little bit of I'm conflicted with that situation. I personally am conflicted with congratulating women that are like willfully single and having children and like, my baby's coming, like, you know.
Okay.
That's what I see.
I agree. Listen,
And I don't see that majority of the time, just to be clear. That's not most cases, which is he's trying to act like that's the norm. That's not the norm at all.
Stones at her?
Absolutely.
Anton, shut up. You do not believe
I agree. Listen,
Should we throw stones at her?
Should we throw stones at her? This man said absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I am conflicted with that, but what the fuck?
You said that congratulating a woman, but if you want to throw accountability at anybody, throw it at the man that left
It's
the
a
family
small
unit,
minority.
right?
It's a small percentage of men that's having a majority of the children.
That's not true. Stop saying that. They keep acting like 10% of men are having sex with 90% of the women. Whatever the fuck them numbers is not fucking true. It is not true. Men over the age of like 23 are having just as much sex as the men that's aged 40. Stop. The younger men have the least sex simply because of time and possibility. That's it. Once you get to college and after that, everything is fair game. Stop acting like men aren't having sex with women and getting them pregnant. Stop it. That is not fucking true. There's only a few of the men having all the baby. What are you saying? Are you saying one man has kids with like 7 women on average? You saying that's the norm? Even 3, that's not normal. It happens at times. It's not normal. It is not normal. That's not the majority of what we're talking about.
It's most black men are not having children out of wedlock. That is a falsehood. And so
and that might be true too, but you just changed it to black because at first you said men. Now you're talking about men ain't having most black men ain't having children out of wedlock. That's probably true. That's probably true, but that's not what you was arguing at first.
It's most black men. It's a small percentage of men that's having a majority of the children. It's most
that
black
doesn't make
men
sense.
are not having children out of wedlock. That is a
See, you went from men to black men. You went from men to black men, and those are two different things. You just, and I think you realized that what you said initially had nothing to do with what you really wanted to say, and that's why you changed it.
falsehood. And so when we sit here, when we want to solve for a problem, we solve for the majority, not the minority. And when you look at the statistics, most black men are not having children.
Why does he keep saying men and then black men? Are you saying you want to say black men, but you keep saying men? Why? Because when you say the black, okay.
And when you look at the statistics, most black men are not having children out of wedlock.
That's true, but what does that have to? That don't have. I guess he's trying to say since most of the black men aren't engaging in that activity, that's not the majority. So you have to solve for the problem of, I guess, the women having them out of wedlock. But that would be the same thing. They had to do it with the man out of wedlock. So it doesn't matter. You can't say like most black men aren't having children out of wedlock. That's true. Most black women aren't having kids out of wedlock too. If that's the case, because those are 2 people out of wedlock. That number can only be the same. Yeah. Because it's contingent on one another. I don't know. But I think regardless, if you're saying that most black men don't do that, I would argue that most black women aren't either. I would think that it's just there's some that do. Or most do between both of us. But even out of wedlock, that doesn't necessarily mean that the child is being raised as a single parent. They probably have co-parenting, which is also better than single parents. Or they're just not married but together in the same house, which is better than co-parenting. So either way, you keep trying to advocate you're trying to compare the best situation to the worst when there's a lot in between before you get to the worst, which nobody wants anybody to be a single parent. Nobody is on this panel or in the audience trying to say, yay, single parents. But if we're going to base it off reality, we rather have co-parenting before single. We rather have cohabitation before and we rather have marriage before cohabitating.
Small minority of men that's having a majority of the children with a whole lot of women. That's
not true. They're not having majority of the women getting them pregnant. There's some people that do that. There's not a lot. You're trying to. That's literally negligible. The amount of men that's having a bunch of kids. Now, if they be having an argument about like just sex. Yeah, maybe men have a lot of sex with a lot of women, but a lot of men aren't just having a bunch of kids by a bunch of women. That's not normal.
And how do a woman have a child without a wedlock without the man too?
What I'm saying is,
he not finna answer it. He finna just say something.
if we got 99% of the men, and we said we're gonna hold all of them accountable.
No, I'm saying like if the woman had the child at wedlock, she didn't have it by herself.
I'm explaining.
So did he.
If we got 99% of men to do the right thing, it takes 1% of men to populate the majority of the women.
True indeed.
So even if you hold all men accountable, it doesn't solve for the problem.
No, it's not about all men. It's about holding everybody accountable.
We do.
That was a bar. That was a bar. He said it's not about all men. It's about everybody. And that's the thing. Like you said, you're just literally ignoring that women and men play a part in this. Don't just say women have to pay attention who you open your legs for. Man, how about you make more conscious decisions about who you get pregnant to? Women aren't getting pregnant on their own. It doesn't make sense to just blame women. You have to blame men too. Do you think how is it possible that if you held 99% of men accountable, that this problem will still persist if they're all held accountable? Which is why dude said hold everybody accountable. You got to put everybody on that same playing field because one cannot happen without the other. If every woman on earth opened their legs up to all of the men on earth, if all of the men said we're not doing it unless we're married, that would help solve the issue the same way if all men had the dick out and women decided they wasn't going to sit on it unless they was married, there wouldn't be no issue and the behavior will change on each end, period.
Do, but men by default are automatically held accountable.
Let me go back to this.
How are we automatically held accountable when men ditch out on kids? Women do not have that opportunity to ditch out on their kids more often than not. How? How are we automatically held accountable? You don't hear about deadbeat moms often. It happens, but it's not. There's more deadbeat dads.
We do, but men by default are automatically held accountable.
How? I would really have loved for him to explain that. Nobody asked.
Go back to this stepdad situation.
We want to go back to the stepdad because you feel away. You should have held him to that. How are men automatically held accountable, especially when it comes to having kids?
So real fast, because I have a stepfather, right? Mm-hmm. But he didn't raise me. My grandfather raised me, mm-hmm. right? So I didn't personalize my stepfather because that's who my mom is married to.
Yeah, that's who your mom chose.
That's her relationship. I have examples. I have examples around me that mm-hmm. I don't have to look towards him. Mm-hmm. His only job, honestly, for me, is just to be example of a good person, a human being, period. Right. I don't need him to be my father. I don't even need for none of that shit, mm-hmm. right? It's just simply just be a good dude, treat my mom good, and I mean, honestly, I don't care what y'all going through. Y'all not being physical.
How old were you when he came into your life?
I was in middle school, so that's what, like,
you was
12.
already big.
Well, I was big because I'm 6'5", bro. I've been big.
No, I'm saying you were older as a kid. You already
middle schooler
was in you.
No, boy, I'm saying
he was older, but 12 is still. Yeah, the stepfather was going to be there for more of your life than not. Like, especially an influence. Like, you still going to be with you. He lived more life, I guess, in the house without him than he will in the future living in the house. But he going to be there.
Now, wait,
12 is relatively young.
Okay,
well, I mean,
so
11 years old is middle
all
school.
right, cool. All right,
it's like you still being influenced a lot by your parents at that age. Usually when you get to high school where your parents don't have that much influence over you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So one of the facts that you gave in regards to children that, statistically messing up more so, that usually comes from a single mother household, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So if we take the conversation to it being a two-parent,
single mother household. So when I say two-parent household, I'm saying married, having children, raising those children.
Cool.
See, and that's what I'm saying. And I'll say you're discounting everything in between married and single parent. There's different situations that are better than a single parent. And you're trying to say men shouldn't be stepdads, which automatically leaves it at either married or single parent in your mind, which is literally the worst option when there's better options than a single parent. And you're just acting like, excuse me, it's a all or nothing thing when you have to play the cards you are dealt.
So let's take it to a two-parent household where one parent is a step-parent. That's still a two-parent household, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
You don't think?
Maybe not. Maybe not the same. It's probably not the same in most cases, but it's better than a single parent. I really hope she argues this well.
And I personally, again, I would never.
These people piss me off. They can't. Oh my God. I don't know if it's because of time. Y'all scared. Y'all don't have the knowledge. It's not that hard to combat these talking points because they are so stupid.
Advise a guy. If this guy's single, he's taking care of business, he don't have no children or nothing like that. I'm not gonna sit here in good conscience and tell this man that he's supposed to get with a single mother.
Nobody will. Nobody is saying that. But what we are saying is that shit happens. Shit happens where you might have to be not have to. Shit happens where you might end up being a step parent and just and simply putting that over God knows what else in your life that may be going right with this woman. That shit don't over that. It's just selfish. It's just selfish, and there's nothing wrong with being selfish. But just say it. I don't know. It's not like I said. Selfishness isn't inherently a bad thing, but just say that. Just say that, because just having especially it depends on your age. Like I said, I would never tell a 22-year-old to be a step parent. I would never do that, and under any circumstance. But if my man's is like 33 and he really liked this woman and she got like a fucking 9-year-old child, bro, ain't nobody finna be like, don't date her if she's a good woman. That doesn't make any sense. If the child seems like they're on the right path and the mother seems like she's on the right path, bro, why are you not dating her over a child? That is just, you two there is an age where that just doesn't make any sense any longer. I wouldn't even tell the 33-year-old, like, while you out here picking, make sure you get you a woman with kids. I wouldn't even do that. But if the man really likes the woman and y'all fucking 30 years old, 34 years old, what come on. It just sounds ridiculous, honestly, at that point. And especially say she had him as she was married. Especially, let's say she got married. She tried to do it the right way. That's a better sign than if she had it on her own. You feel me? What's good, D-Nice? What up? Appreciate you, big dog. Glad you slid through. But yeah, man, like, it don't make any, bro, let me know how you feel. He's trying to argue that no man should be a stepdad, and then he keeps saying, I wouldn't advise no man to be a stepdad. Nobody would advise a man to be a stepdad off GP. The point is, if you're of a sudden age, if you're like over 30 years old and you meet a woman and she got a kid, why the fuck are you gonna not date her because she had a kid? Now, if you like 22 or some shit like that, no, don't even engage in that because you don't even understand yourself. I really wouldn't entertain a single mom much unless you just like a seriously mature young man for whatever reason, that you're the exception and you're like extremely mature for your age and you really want this woman for whatever reason, whatever. But I'm not going to tell you to go do it. But to just act like no man ever should be a stepdad if the cards play how they play in your life and you of an older age and you meet a woman with a kid, you can't, I don't think it's a good idea to just not date her off that alone if her character and her personality matches up with something that you want and it worked.
Absolutely not.
And that's
100%.
Cool. But there's so many single fathers that get with single mothers.
Mm-hmm.
So many single fathers.
Now, what are you gonna say to that? Single fathers. What do you say about that?
Are we just speaking about the men
with single mothers? So many single fathers.
So are we just speaking about the men who don't have children? Is that the reference? Or are you saying just all men?
Because I
even if they
understand the
come
men
in
that
with
doesn't have
children?
children, but there's just so many single fathers that look towards.
I mean,
like I
yeah,
said, the majority
we
of
also
men
have to be
don't have
realistic
children out
here.
of wedlock.
Okay, where you
Stop saying that. Why does he keep saying that? What about the single fathers? Because you're acting like there's this plethora of women just running around single trying to get all the men without kids. Usually single mothers want a single dad. Usually, depends on the circumstance. Usually a single mother is looking for a dad a man that has a child so he understands and she can probably understand that he's hopefully good with kids. I would hope that no woman dates a deadbeat dad knowingly. Like that would be I think that's a serious lack of character judgment that you would date a man that's a deadbeat dad.
where you living, right? We're living in America, and 1 out of every 4 kids are born with a single parent.
Yeah.
Or raised with a single parent, right? And the rest of the world, it's
Might
at
put
an
my
8%.
contact
So
back
we're
in.
about
I
3 to
feel
4
better.
times more
Because I could barely
likely
see y'all.
to have a child be raised out of wedlock or with only one parent, right? So when you look at the numerics, you're more likely than not to run, if you're a guy who doesn't have any kids, you're more likely than not, depending on your age, to run into a woman that has a kid, right? So I don't think we're advising anybody, hey, I advise you to go find a woman that has a kid with another man.
Nobody's
no,
doing
but what
that.
I'm saying is that the offer's not on the table.
Off the table.
Depending on her behavior. Now, if she has 3, 4, 5.
Exactly. Like if her behavior aligns with what you want out of a woman, simply because she has a kid is not enough reason to be like, fuck no. Unless you're that type of guy. But some guys, it's like, that's not worth losing somebody over. If you're so about like love and marriage and the perfect person and all that shit, you shouldn't advise anybody to just cut off a woman because she has a kid. Because it may not have been her choice. Suppose she did it all the right way. She got married at like 26 to her high school sweetheart. She had her kid at 29. They done had their honeymoon phase. It done all worked out. And then that man just couldn't handle being a father. Or he got addicted to drugs. Or he became an alcoholic. Because life happens and shit happens and it don't work out. And she worked it. She tried to work it out with him for a year. And it did not work out. And his alcoholism just destroyed their household. And she got a divorce. Why are you acting like this woman can't redeem herself or have a man when she did nothing wrong? Now, I'm not saying that always happens, but that is a situation that people can end up in. She can't date nobody.
Baby fathers, I would never advise that, right?
Right.
Sorry to those women. But if you have one man and, I mean, you had one man and now you have one child with that man, and maybe even 2, and that's something that you want to tie up your boots and walk in the path you want to walk down. That's
crazy.
I would say go ahead.
That's crazy. How is it crazy? It's something that can happen. How is that crazy? Again, are you talking about men that are like 21 years old? Or are you talking about fucking older men that's looking for a wife? If you're 30 years old and no kids and you meet a 30-year-old woman with 2, if she don't have a kid, great. But if she do, it's like, well, you got married and had kids. That's what you were supposed to do, right? You got divorced. That's what you're supposed to do, right?
I brought up single fathers because when you see a woman that is a single mother, that child has a father.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Who's a single father.
Right. And he's ignoring the fuck. It's insane. Like, it's just like I said, if you don't want to do it, bro, that's perfectly fine. But don't sit here and act like you're less of a man because you decide to be a stepfather. And I felt this way before I was a stepfather. So this not even just, it feels personal to me because I understand men that don't want to be stepfathers. It's not like something that's a goal for any man. And you would never tell another man like, hey, go out there, be a stepfather. That's not how it works. But to ignore something that's probably good off for the strength of a kid, if the kid is good, that's crazy. That's crazy, actually. You sound crazy.
Not
especially because you'll see.
Putting those two things together.
I got a question for you. So say you got your son, right? You going by your principles. You don't want him to date a young lady that has a child or whatever, right? So what if he do anyway?
What do you mean, what if he do?
So
What if he
so this
dates
actually is a perfect
a
example.
mother with a child?
My dad feels like
whatever.
My dad,
Single mother.
he used to always tell my brother, you are a first round draft pick. You don't have no kids. I bought you a brand new car. You just moved to a new city.
I can't barely see. I'm flipping my contact back in. I'm sorry. All right.
Put you some money in the account, like you were a first round draft pick. You pick you somebody that da-da-da. When I was younger, I used to be like, that's such a fucked up way to say things. And I don't necessarily align with the way that you're delivering it, but I can see as someone that is active in step parenting and understand the difficulties of it.
Yeah.
I can understand the foundation of the message. I do think that people can find love in multiple places, but I do think that when you have a prepackaged family, it can be a little bit rougher at times to, you know, figure out getting through situations or even.
It's hard to figure out situations when you're with your husband.
Honestly.
When you have kids with your husband.
Honestly.
It's hard to figure out situations then too.
Yeah.
When you have family members coming from both sides and inputting this and that. That's a difficult situation. They're all difficult situations.
For me, I think the difficulty sometimes that I might have, and this is honestly just me being vulnerable.
Yeah.
The difficulties that I see sometimes in being a bonus parent is no matter what you do, no matter what you say.
It seemed like all three. Well, no, two out of the three women have step/adopted kids. Interesting.
Hey, you're not going to ever be their parent.
Right.
So sometimes it's like, okay, like for example, you know, the baby is homeschooled. I want all three of the kids to be homeschooled because I feel like that would be best. That's not my call.
Right.
As difficult as that is sometimes for me just to swallow, sometimes I really want to just have the conversation of, yo, we should just make this shift, you know? But that's not my call because I'm just the bonus mom.
Right.
I can understand the wanting to protect, you know, your child from, you know.
I'm sorry, but with that same example, say you had all three with your husband and your husband is firmly against homeschooling and you're not, wouldn't you run into that same situation?
Yeah, but fortunately, before me and him had Chan, that's stuff that we talked about.
Right.
And we discussed that. So, but that definitely would be a hard thing if we weren't aligned in that space. Absolutely.
And we got to also stop thinking that you could be a great parent and your child is not receptive to your parenting.
Period.
Yeah.
And I think oftentimes we try to, you know.
That was fire.
You feel me? Oftentimes we try to sit here and be like, oh, you know, it's my fault because such and such and such, you know, this child has grown up to do whatever, become whatever. That's completely outside of how you raised them. There's kids or adults now that were kids and really had two great parents, but yet they wanted to do all the other things that was going to make them a bad person.
For no reason.
I don't know
Yeah.
why
That's
I
a
did
lot of-
that. And it's not
But it's so true.
It's not their parent.
Anton over there shaking his head like, no, you're wrong. Even though that's a real life answer. That's what I'm saying. Like these manosphere guys just seem to be anti-actuality. Like it's like I want to prescribe all of these things that don't work in the real world in real life. This is what I want to tell y'all to do. And when people just give the real world answer, they be like, no, I can't go for that.
It's fault, you know what I'm
It's
saying?
not.
It absolutely
I think that what
It
happens is
It absolutely
what happens is
Shorty is over him. It
It's
isn't.
not.
absolutely
I think that what
It
happens
isn't.
is what happens.
Shorty, hey, she gonna keep doing that, and it's funny because it's like I feel her, but she don't want. I wish she gave him some smoke though. She just was like letting him know, like, nigga, I'm not going for your shit.
Is at some point in time when kids become adults,
She said
we don't
it
sit
isn't.
here and we actually reflect on the sacrifices that were being made with appreciation. We actually
She didn't
do it
give
in
him the
sense of,
smoke.
I wish I had this, and this.
And she
And
should've.
in America, personally, we already exist in a world where we have a disease of more. We always want more. We always want something that should have been over here or something that was over
It's
there.
so true. That's
but
just
it's
what
never
human
a
beings
grateful.
do.
There's never no gratefulness to anything. You feel what I'm saying? Like my mom, she worked 3-4 jobs, right? My sister felt like my mother wasn't there a lot.
Yeah.
So my sister started acting out. Me, right? We're only about 1.5 years, 2 years apart. me, I looked at it as, wow, my mother is sacrificing a lot. Okay, I am appreciative, but my sister was resentful. It's the same parent doing the same exact
thing.
job to both kids, but one kid is going to
One
learn.
side.
Exactly, and that's exactly the fact of the matter. Like it's a whole like I don't know what the word is called. It's like this little story they tell where like these two twin brothers was born with the exact same parents that did the exact same thing for both of them, and one like turned out to be a serial killer, and one was like a Nobel Peace Prize winner or something, whatever the fuck. But it's basically like you raise them the same way, but their inner personality that you don't necessarily always that have control of shaping, they receive that a different way. Like we see, why do you think parents, when certain kids grow up to be serial killers, they be having siblings that do nothing of the sort? You think the parents like treated them completely different? Sometimes that may be the situation. Some kids do get treated differently, but usually those circumstances are extreme, or maybe different parents because they split up, which, like to his point, step parents could have an influence that's negative or positive. But generally, some of these serial killers, when they have siblings, the siblings don't grow up to be the same way. And I would assume that they're treated the same way, or not dramatically different.
To be grateful, and one is going to learn to have a
It's very true.
It's not.
Some kids that are brought up with like tiger parents that's overbearing and controlling, some of them grow up and lash out, or some of them take it and internalize it as my parents want the best for me, so I don't want to let them down, and they go on to be perfectly fine. It happens. There's nothing you can do about it.
It's a blueprint for what success looks like when it comes to. Yes, it is.
Shorty is. Oh, see, it isn't. But it's not though. There is no blueprint to parenting. That's it. Parenting. I don't know why that sounds crazy to me, but yeah, there's not a blueprint to the shit. You could do everything right, and your child can still turn up to be fucked up. And yes, you could want to blame yourself, but all you could do is what you could do, bro. I know people personally, they have parents that raised them the best way they possibly could, and some of them turned out perfectly fine, productive humans, beings walking this earth every day, and their siblings are fucked up over the same experience. The blueprint my ass. No.
Listen, I got 3 brothers. Okay. All of us is married. None of us ever been divorced. 9 uncles on my mother's side. None of them ever been divorced. Good. No children ever been raised out of wedlock. There is a blueprint
for your family.
You can say all that, but that doesn't mean that all of y'all are in perfect relationships and all y'all kids are gonna grow up to be the same thing. I don't know if I even buy that. Maybe, maybe not. I don't have a reason to not believe it. It just sounds crazy. You got 9 uncles. I don't know if I guess you counting both sides, maybe. But 9 uncles, everybody's married, nobody's been divorced, and then all your brothers is married and nobody's been divorced. Who's to know how long that's gonna last? Who's to say you're telling the truth? Who's to say what these marriages look like on the inside versus, you know what I'm saying? Like, people are just doing it to say, a lot of people stay in marriages to save face because they don't want to be embarrassed about getting divorced. So maybe it's true. I'll take him at his word. That don't mean shit though. It doesn't mean anything. If your family's that perfect, why y'all not the fucking face of America? If y'all so perfect. To be honest, you ain't that great of a person from what I've seen from you on YouTube. You're not that great of a person. So you can say all that about marriage, but that don't make you a good person.
That worked very well. Good.
No children ever been raised out of wedlock. There is a blueprint.
For your family, that worked very well.
Yeah, she's over him.
It's called being intentional.
Facts.
It's called, and let me tell you something. Even scripturally, and we raise our kids based off of the scriptures. When you put it in them young, it never departs from them, even if you allow for them to fail in controlled environments.
That's not fucking true. That's a flat out lie. That's not true. That is not true. It is not true. It's not true. I am a product of that. It's not true. There are certain things that my parents tried to instill in me as a child that I let go as when I became an adult because I did not agree with it. And that's just what it is. That's not fucking true. And it's not whether it was good or bad or not. It's just something that did not sit well within who I am. So that's not fucking true. And to say they never, as if that's a matter-of-fact statement, is not true. It's not true. Because I'm a product of that. And even if one person is different, I know I'm not alone in it for certain. So if one person strays away from what you're saying, then it's not true. Because you're just speaking of it. That's just there's no other way to think otherwise. You're speaking on it as if it's gravity, and it's no.
Even scripturally, and we raise our kids based off of the scriptures. When you put it in them young, it never departs from them, even if you allow for them to fail in controlled environments. They never depart from it. They always come back to the thing that you put into them when they're young. And so for us to sit here and have this conversation would basically tell me that y'all just believe differently than me.
And I can respect his belief and his convictions on this. It's probably helped him in his life. But the fact of the matter is, real life don't work like that for everybody. And you can try to get people to believe in the same way you do, but there's a lot of factors of what can happen externally to you in your life that then dictates your behavior and what you get, and what you get out of life.
Because what we're different people, and that's fair.
She said we're different people.
But what I'm saying is,
but it is respectable. That type of belief and conviction for what you believe is very respectable.
Everything that I hear communicated right now is a remix. America is this. No, there is a fundamental way, and other cultures even understand it, that's not even having as many options as us. There's a fundamental way that you go about being successfully married, being successfully able to raise your children, so on and so forth. And we've departed from that, and we keep remixing it and saying, well, it's okay for you to go out there, fail, create a whole nother family, come back, and then you able to redeem yourself. That's not the conversation that we should be having.
Yeah, it's not. Nobody. But the thing is, he's acting like that's what people are saying you should do. Nobody's saying you should do that, but it's something that actually happens. And from that point, what do you do then? You can't just sit here and say like, oh yeah, go. Nobody's saying like, girl, marry him, have his kids, and then if y'all get divorced, another man will come get you. Like, nobody's saying that. Nobody ever has said that. Like, girl, if y'all get divorced, who cares? You'll just find another man and he'll raise your child with you. You all right, girl? Nobody's saying that. That's not what's happening. But that happens, and then you have to move from that point. So once women do everything that you just said, and life happens externally that you have absolutely no control over because you're doing everything in your spirit and your belief and your heart to do things the right way, and then something happens externally that you had absolutely no control over, and it fucks up your life and you end up divorced. Then what, Anton? Then what? Because you can't sit here and act like if you follow the blueprint that everything is going to be handy dandy after that, bro. That's not real life. For y'all to always act like what's real, that's not real.
Instead, we should be having a conversation based off of proactively preventing ourselves from even getting in this situation in the first place. But instead, we keep remixing and expecting our children to not pay for the sins of their father.
Nobody's remixing anything. We're just talking about what real life deals with.
Our children are nothing more than a reflection of the failures of the people that came before them. That's it.
So they all like can't believe what he's saying, but none of them know how to attack it. It's so fucking annoying. It's so annoying.
So when I said earlier, when I said in a different show that I'm the man that I would want my daughter to marry, it's a reason for that. I don't make sacrifices, or I don't come into this whole situation looking to apologize. I'm looking to validate. I'm looking to remove every excuse that you have from being able to not make the right decision. And you often at times make the right decision every time because you are going to be a reflection of what me and your mother put into you. That's it.
I love the thought of that mindset.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's respectable to feel that way. Like, I'm not knocking his mindset. I can't rock with the fact that you're acting like because it worked for you, that's what it is. That's not real. Imagine if everybody was to be like, I was respectable to the police every time. You know, imagine if I hopped on him like, I'm always respectable to police and I ain't never got hurt. I ain't never got shot. I have never had a bad experience with the police. So that's all you got to do. You just got to respect the police and nothing will ever happen to you. What does that look like? Imagine somebody said that to you, because you from Detroit, nigga, so I know you probably had some run-ins with the police. If you know you had a bad experience with the police and you did everything the right way, and somebody walked up to you and be like, all you gotta do is respect them, and then you was like, nah, I respect them, and then, you know, they still fucked me up. You be like, no, you did something wrong. It's a blueprint. It's a blueprint. If you respect the police, they ain't never gonna fuck with you. Imagine if you did that shit and somebody told you, nah, you did something wrong. You gotta instill it from them when they young to whatever. You will look at them crazy. And that's what she says. Like, that's a great, I'm glad you think that way. That sounds great. And in all honesty, there's nothing wrong with it. But you're speaking to something that is never, ever, ever, ever going to be the fact of the matter.
It sounds like a really
Okay,
good
question.
It sounds.
I love the thought of that
It sounds
mindset.
cool.
It sounds like a really
Okay,
good
question.
So I really wish Shorty would have got in his ass, because she got a mouth on her, but I think she just either don't know how to handle the confrontation or just didn't want to.
You said preventative. If the conversation needs to be about preventative actions to not make families that could be potentially broken and things like that, what are the preventative actions that we need to discuss?
Oh, it's
then?
very simple. It goes back to the original marry before you carry. We need to stop dating, stop experiencing a bunch of people, stop having a bunch of sex, stop putting yourself in a position to have to sacrifice.
So if we stop dating, how do we get to marriage?
You shouldn't even be, and I talked about it.
Yeah, I asked him that.
You shouldn't be dating. You shouldn't even be opening up yourself up to all of these spirits from different men in the first place.
How do you meet your husband if you don't date?
You already probably met him.
That sounds like such a fucking weak answer. You probably met him. Like, stop. Like, you just being ridiculous. This ideal world that you're talking about sounds great and grand, and everybody wishes they could live in this Disney Pixar film. But it's just not the reality of the situation. And no matter how much you try to instill it, people are going to divert away from the norm because there is no pre-programmed way to make people behave.
He's the person that has your best interests at heart. He's the person that already...
This sounds so head ass, bro. Like, you sound like a fucking infomercial.
He's the person that has your best interests at heart. He's the person that already was your best friend. He's the person that had your best interest. Most women skip over the man that they were supposed to marry already. That's the key. And then y'all pick the guy that y'all want. He ruins you, and then you expect for another guy to come back and pick up the pieces for you. That's not the way to do it. We remixing what relationships are supposed to be. You ain't even supposed to be dating until you get married.
So you met him at a quick trip, but...
You ain't supposed to be dating until you get married. How the fuck do you marry somebody without getting to know them? That's dating. The arranged marriages, is that what you're talking about? Did you have an arranged marriage? Were you a virgin till you... I wonder if he was a virgin until he got married. Because nobody in the manosphere respects you if you just had sex with only your wife. Because you're saying there was a blueprint, there's a right way, blah, blah, blah. You're not supposed to be dating. And you're speaking on it as if you did everything the absolute 100% straight path, right way, not dating and all that shit. So, but I don't believe you'll sit here and say you was a virgin until you got married and you didn't date other women before you got married. And it's fine if you did, even per your viewpoint, but you're talking about it as if you did all that. Because if you dated and you made mistakes and you had sex out of wedlock and you dated out of wedlock, now I guess that's the thing that you're proposing. If you did all of that, why aren't you leaving grace for all these other people to do it if you still made it work at the end of the day? Did all your siblings do it? Did your 9 uncles do it? Because let's not act like all y'all was perfect growing up, but you're speaking on this as if they don't have room to make those mistakes, but you found a way to fix it. Because again, if you didn't, that's perfectly fine, and I'm not judging you for that if you didn't follow it perfectly. But you're not speaking on it like, I did this too, so I get it. You're not showing any sign of empathy, which is why people aren't as receptive to what you're saying, because you're talking as if I got it made, I'm perfect, I did it all the right way, and look at me now. If you're not showing that you understand these people because what they're saying is reasonable, then nobody's gonna fuck with what you're saying, bro. Because you're living in a world that's not real.
But you never dated him, but you were supposed to marry him.
You was raised with him. You were around him. You went to school with him. Most people.
And everybody, that's what I'm saying. Like, you got 5 people sitting here like you're crazy, and you're the one man talking like you got it made. But to the outside looking in, I guess that's the persona you want to let off. And even Shorty that was agreeing with you at first, this dark skinned lady that was sitting next to him with the hat, she was agreeing with him too. But now she's been silent. She ain't nod. She ain't say yep or none of that in a while because you sound crazy, bro.
Well, I'm so looking at my memory book like.
I really do like your train of thought.
Yeah, that's like it's perfect. The way he's thinking is fine. It's just not real.
If I got a couple questions. First and foremost is how old are you?
41.
Okay. Strike 1. Second question, where are you from?
Detroit.
Born and raised. Strike 2. When you
That's so condescending. That's so condescending. I don't even know what he's trying to get at, but strike, like he's answering your questions without any hesitation or any trying to dodge or whatever. But why are you saying strike 1 or 2? What are you getting at?
understand the world is different in every area.
I done traveled the world.
Yeah, but at what age?
Traveling the world ain't got nothing to do with experiencing it as on a day-to-day basis. Traveling, I hate when people say they use traveling as a way to understand other cultures in a way that the people that live it every day do. It's a different experience. I'm not saying it's invalid completely in all cases, but to say you travel has nothing to do with experiencing day-to-day life in a different place and different place and time.
My whole life.
What age?
My whole life.
Give me your first age where you
13.
You was 13. No. Give me your first age where you experienced life as a man in a different state. Outside
13.
of the Midwest
Oh,
area.
as a man? 18.
18. Where'd you go?
Ohio.
Outside the Midwest.
Outside the Florida.
Okay.
19.
19. Who are you with?
My father.
Rico is like, he's digging too hard. Got to run errands fast. Okay. Got you. Rico is, he's trying to dig for something that's not there, it seems like, because these questions just feel so awkward and unnecessary, and I don't think it's leading to anything. I don't get what's happening.
As a man, by yourself, I have to do this over with you because we could go back and
forth. What do you
mean
as a man by myself?
As a man, as an adult, I'm not talking about with your daddy on your side. I'm not talking about with your mother on your side. I ain't talking about your uncle, your cousin. When did you take your nutsack and run around by yourself as a man with the
This girl, she over here glazing because she happy that somebody getting at Anton because she don't fuck with him for real. She don't fuck with him, and she over there smirking like, yeah, you do it because I wasn't gonna do it. I wish she would have got him because she got the angst in her to talk with Anton, but she just wouldn't do it on her own.
The friend in a different place. At what
I
age?
don't know if he did that because he got married.
at 22 years old.
This is what I'm trying.
I got married at 22.
Exactly.
I was intentional.
So
I chose my wife when I met her in high school.
Hold on, listen. All I'm doing is asking you questions.
I know, but I'm telling you that.
Okay.
See, he chose his wife in high school. He said he was 22 when he got married, but he chose her in high school. Great, good, great, grand. Was you a virgin? I think, like I said, I think even being intentional, there's no guarantees with being intentional. And I'm glad it worked out for him. So he says. I'm glad that worked out for you, bro. But being intentional doesn't guarantee anything.
I don't put myself in a position.
You can be intentional, and if it don't work, you can still be intentional. You can be intentional as you want, but that does not guarantee an outcome.
So what I'm trying
It's
to tell
a difference.
you, but no. The difference is this. You got married at 22 years
That's
old,
right.
20 fucking years ago, bro.
Correct.
You understand the world's not the same then?
Let me tell you something.
No.
Wait. The word don't.
Shorty said I got married at 22 as well. You see what I'm saying? Like, and that is a testament to Rico's argument because she said I got married at 22 as well. So she follow his blueprint. Let's say she follow his blueprint. She's probably still in her 20s, maybe 30s. That is a completely different time than when he got married in his 20s. Things were different, very different. People were different, very different. Like, if you took people in the fucking 70s and 80s and just had them have conversations with people that was born in the 90s and the 2000s, they're going to look at each other like fucking aliens, bro, because our experiences are so different. What they could speak on is totally different than what we could speak on, and what we have to deal with as millennials and Gen X and shit. Like, our conversations aren't the same. They're not dealing with the same things, and it's not a matter of worse or better or anything. It's just different. It's just different. So you can say you can be intentional as you want, but there's so many outlying factors that motherfuckers got to deal with that you didn't even have to think about in the slightest, bro.
Change ever.
Because it wasn't even an option.
Same way it was yesterday as it is today.
And that was the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard. What?
Let me tell you something. No. The word don't change ever. It's the same way it was yesterday as it is today.
Yeah, yesterday. You're talking about 20 years ago. This man just said the world doesn't change. As if he's not sitting on a fucking couch with 5 people that's on different parts of the world every week, projecting those visual images to thousands of people that's all over the fucking world watching you have this conversation. That is something that was not happening 20 years ago. Podcasts in the form that y'all have it, TV, yes. But even TV was not happening whatever many years ago before the TV existed. I don't know the year the TV came out. So things change, sir. I don't even know how you could form your mouth to say something like that, because that's the most absurd statement, one of the most absurd statements I've ever heard. But it's the manosphere, so it never fails to give us crazy-ass statements in one-liners. The world don't change. It's the same as it was yesterday. The reason you said yesterday is because you know damn well it wasn't the same 20 years ago. I can't believe he fixed his mouth to say that, bro. That's insane.
The method by which you go about being successful is the same.
So we're still slaves.
No, it's not.
Listen, I tell you what.
I get what you're saying.
Because the method to be successful 20 years ago, you had to leave your house. There was no way to be successful staying in the house. There was nothing you could do inside the confines of your home to be successful in any way, shape, or form, especially as a man. You had to go out, you had to work, you had to show your ass, you had to show your personality in person. You had to talk to people in person. You had to understand how to talk to people in person to get what you want. Now you can do everything you want in your house to be successful, depending on what you want. I make that clear, y'all. I'm intentional with how I speak. I know I make some little fumbles with some of the words I use, and sometimes I just I don't ever want to be misrepresented. But you totally can be successful by just being in your house with your phone today. That was not something that was even conceivable 20 years ago.
You telling me that it don't work, right?
No, I'm not. You're not letting me tell you. You're not letting me tell you.
Okay, wait. I want to get back. Let me take the conversation back to this, because I had some questions. I had some stuff on my card.
See, this that Shannon Sharp shit. Don't fucking divert a good back and forth. Don't fucking cuck the content because you want to talk about what's on your fucking card. They was finna get in a good back and forth. Anton even stopped talking to let Rico talk, to respect the platform and to have a good conversation. And now you finna just take over because you want to get to your card. But I'm sorry, shorty. Like, this was better than whatever the fuck you finna say on your card. Like, why would you do that, bro? That's annoying.
No, I'm not.
Listen,
I
tell you what.
I get what you're saying.
You telling me that it don't work, right?
No, I'm not. You're not letting me tell you. You're not letting me tell you.
You see, he says, you're not letting me tell you. He's like, I'm sorry, go ahead. Anton was willing to let him talk so they could really have this back and forth, and you fucked it up.
I want to get back. Let me take the conversation back to this, because I had some questions. I had some stuff on my card that I want to talk about.
Fucking stupid.
And I want to talk about it, okay? Now, what kind of parents are y'all? More traditional or gentle parents?
You could have, bro.
Shit.
Well, I'm intentional about being gentle. So he's never
She just did. That was stupid,
What is
bro.
a gentle parent? I still don't understand the concept.
Okay, so I think that. Okay, hold on. No, listen. No, because I want to talk about gentle parenting within the Black community, because I think a lot of us have this idea that gentle parenting is just
passive parenting, and it's not.
Oh, stop! Don't Don't do that. No, gentle parenting is just me not talking to you in a disrespectful way.
I'm not going to disrespect you.
Not hitting you.
Honestly, I don't. She just ended this conversation at the best point. That's fucking annoying, and I don't even care about the rest of this conversation. Like she just fucked up this fucking show. Like, what the fuck?
Confining my kids or being like so sheltered.
I don't care no more. You just fucked up the content. Like, that was stupid. I hate when people do shit like, I want to get to my cars. Shannon Sharp. That's why he needs to work on his shit too. I'm not trying to disrespect Shannon Sharp, but he do that shit too. He don't be engaged in what's happening because he wants to get to these points. I know y'all be having a time limit, but it be content. And that question wasn't worth ending what this could have been if you let them continue that conversation. Sometimes you gotta play the cards you don't. You feel me? But nah, y'all, appreciate y'all for tuning into the stream. Make sure you leave a like, comment, sub if you made it to this point. If not one, then all three. But yeah, that was it today. Destiny showed his ass with Boogie. Anton, you showed your ass too. You put a good plant of positivity and optimism in a lot of people's mind. But I think you need to be more empathetic and realistic with your approach of it. And I think people will be more receptive to what you say. So yeah. Till next time, y'all. Thanks for tuning into the stream. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.